What is the art of mastery as I see it? This is a very, very important piece because this is the ultimate daily practice. It's important to eat well, eat healthy, to exercise, to have a morning routine that helps you create an extraordinary day every day. But the most important thing that we practice all the time is the art of mastery. It is connected to what I would perceive as the other most important practice, which is to constantly seek out the divine guidance. Someone might call it the will of God, someone else might call it the flow of the universe, but ultimately they mean the same thing, finding out what the divinity of the universe guides you to do. However, in order to be great at that, you also need to be practicing the art of mastery, and they go together. They are actually one and the same in many ways. Well, let me then explain to you what the art of mastery is. It is the practice of following one simple statement that you'll want to memorize. Buy my t-shirt, right? Put it on your phone, put it on your desktop, put it on your mirror. What is the statement? Have your feelings, don't let your feelings have you. How can you follow the will of the great spirit, the great divine, the universe, your higher self, whatever you want to call it? If your feelings own you, then you're not being able, you're not being available to follow the highest path. However, that's not the only purpose of practicing the art of mastery, but I'm just saying that these two practices are the most important practices that we have in order to achieve success in every area of life and ultimately to live a life of heaven on earth, to live our dream life, to live a life of joy and constant perpetual happiness. You might not believe it's possible, but it is possible if you're able to master the art of mastery, which would include consciously being aware of your intuition, which is the divine guidance. It's difficult to be aware of it if you're not practicing the art of mastery, so they go together. And for most people, the art of mastery is what you need to practice first and foremost above all other practices. What is it again? It is to practice having your feelings rather than letting your feelings have you. It's helpful to understand a few important things about how a human being is designed. However, before I get into that, I want to express to you again that if your anger controls you, this is bad for your life. If your fear owns you, this isn't a good thing for your family, your community, your business, your career, your love life. If your sadness controls what you say and what you think and what you do, you are not your best self. Ultimately, the art of mastery is about constantly and consistently being your best self. And that leads us to one of the first principles that you need to understand about how you, as a human being, are designed. And yes, there is a design to you. Every human being is unique, and every human being has the same design. Tell me, how many kidneys do you have? It's not a joke, I'm serious. You have two, right? Well, maybe you lost one or gave one away, but almost every human has two. How many eyeballs do you have? How many brains? I know you can make lots of jokes out of these questions, but my point is that human beings have a design to their body. For example, the number one priority of every human body physically is to provide oxygen and glucose to the brain. Without that, you die. The number two priority of every human body is to maintain the pH balance of the blood. If your blood goes below 7.2, you won't get enough oxygen to your brain and you'll die. Because if there isn't enough of a pH balance, if it's not alkaline enough, your body can't carry enough oxygen, so you'll die. So that's why it's the number two priority of the body. That's true for every human body. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, where you were born, it's the same for everybody. Well, there's more to your design. I'm just giving you a couple of examples of the physical design, but there's also a design to your mind, which I go into more depth in my introductory training, why your life is the way it is, ending repeating life patterns, and in complete depth, although there's always more to learn, right? In the 3-day weekend training, the Goran technique. On day one, there's an entire section on the design of the mind. Here's one piece of it that's critical to the art of mastery. You are not your negative emotions. They are not who you are. Let me ask you a question. When you just close your eyes and listen to your thoughts, who's listening to the thoughts? You're listening to the thoughts. Well, then you're not your thoughts, are you? And every thought, and this is something that is part of the human design, another principle, every thought creates emotion. Emotions are chemicals generated in the brain that go into the body. And every single thought creates these chemicals that we call emotion. Emotions can be measured under a microscope. You can see them. They are physical. They are as real as oxygen and glucose. They are physiological. They are chemical. Thoughts are not chemical, but they become chemical in the body. They go from ninth dimension to third dimension as they get formed physically into emotion. So think about it. You're not your thoughts. You're the observer of your thoughts, which means you're also not your emotions. You're the observer of your emotions. You're not your anger. You're the observer of your anger. You're not your fear. You're not your sadness. And you're not a derivative of those. There are three base emotions that are not love, and they are anger, fear, and sadness. Everything else is just a variation of the intensity of them. So if you're frustrated, you're angry, just not that angry. If you're annoyed, it's even less. If you're enraged, it's more than angry. If you're anxious, it's less than afraid. If you are having a panic attack, it's very scary, right? Same thing with sadness, melancholy. I feel a little down, I'm depressed, right? There's a scale of intensity on those three base emotions. Those three emotions are not you. You have those emotions, you feel those feelings, you observe them happening inside of you if you're really paying attention, but they're not you. This is a critical principle to understand yourself, because some people, they want to avoid erasing their emotional pain that they carry around like a couch tied to their ankle, because they think they are the emotional pain. Oh, who will I be if I'm not an angry jerk anymore? Nice, happy, kind, funny. You'll be an essence of love. There are many variations or expressions of love. I just named a few: kindness, niceness, humor, joy, happiness, intelligence, beauty, freedom, peace. These are all ways of expressing love, or how love manifests itself in this world. So you'll be less darkness and more light, less pain and more pleasure, less angry, afraid, and sad, and more happy, if you permanently erase those negative emotions. And yes, it can be done, and it helps to understand how the mind is designed, and you need to practice the art of mastery. Again, the art of mastery is to practice having your feelings rather than letting your feelings have you. You have them, you observe them, you own them. Instead of you get triggered, you react, and now you regret your behavior or what you said. Does that make sense? Of course it does. And it's very human. Do you know anyone who hasn't made a mistake because they let their negative emotions dictate their choices, decisions, or behaviors? Here is a rule that matches the art of mastery that you want to memorize as well. Never make a decision when you are upset. Ever. Never make a decision when you are upset. If you're upset, that means you're either angry, afraid, or sad, or some version of it. Well, I'm hurt, that's a form of sadness. I'm pissed off, that's angry. I'm nervous, that's fear. If you are triggered, which is another way of saying that you're upset, don't make a decision. Don't take action. But I can use my anger in a righteous way. There's no such thing. Now, this is a whole other long conversation if we want to get into it. There is righteous power, but it's not anger. Revenge comes from anger. Justice comes from a place of love. And that's the main distinction. Maybe I'll make another training on the fact that there's no such thing as good anger at another time, and we can have a fun conversation about that, and how over years of study and research I finally came to that conclusion, and I can present to you all of my research. However, let's stick with the art of mastery. We have our feelings, we don't let them have us. We are not our feelings. We are something else. The word human is a word derived from Sanskrit. Hu meaning God, man meaning what? Made physical. So you are divine in the body. That's the definition of a human. And then you're being something all the time. So who are you being? That's what the art of mastery is about ultimately, is mastering who you're being consciously. So you're divine. That's what you actually are. You're not anger. You're not fear. You're not sadness. You don't need to hold on to any of it, and you certainly don't want it to own you, rule you, control you, or make decisions from those places. You want to practice the art of noticing when you're triggered, and then full stop, deal with it, rather than act on it. This is the art of mastery. This will make you powerful. This will make you amazing. This will make you a leader. This will cause you to stand out. This will earn admiration. This will make people want to be like you, because you will show them greatness consistently. To learn more about our training and coaching programs, visit arnaudgoranseminars.com by clicking on the link below now.